Hi everyone, Jana here. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about two books that I recently found. Well, recently as in it was like 6 months ago, I want to say, or the beginning of the summer at Target. So at Target, um, I like to go and look at their books because, well, there's two bookstores here, two local bookstores, which are fine. Sometimes they just don't have a lot because they try to cater to everyone, both new and used books, and it can be a lot to kind of just go through because there are those two, and then there's another one in a city that's like 15 minutes away. But like when you're trying to cater to people who want new books, people who want used books, people who want collectors books, people, all these types of books, it can be kind of hard. So I also like looking at Target. I hate looking at Walmart for books because all our Walmart is tiny and the books like this, and they're all like, oh, what is it now? I think some of them are Bridgerton, some of them are J.K. Rowling, Stephen King, like just books that I'm not interested in reading. And so our Target's pretty I like our Target. Our Target's pretty decent. They have, it's right next to the movies, but I don't mind it. They have the young adults, like in the little corner, and then they have the adult like right next to it, so they kind of overlap and mesh. If you're not like careful, you're like, oh, whoops, they crossed over. And then they have the children's books on the other side. And so because I like to work, I work with preschoolers, and then I have two nieces that are 6. So I do look at the children's books whenever I get a chance because I'm like, oh, the girls would like this. I think the last book I bought them was Bunny Corn, and they were like, oh, you got it at Target. And I'm like, how did you know? They're like, it says it right there. It has the little. I'm like, yeah. Enjoy, girls. I think I got them that for like Easter or something. They're like, oh, you got it from Target. They're so funny. I love them. They're hilarious. And so yeah, I like to look at the children's books. My mom also works at a school, so it's like, oh hey, this would be good for your 5 kids. Yeah, she has 5 kids this year. So yeah, I just like to look. And one of the last times I was looking, not recently, but one of the last times I was looking, I found two books that I was like, and the children's books that I bought. Well, my friend bought them for me. I didn't ask her to. She was just like, I'll buy them for you. I'm like, okay, thanks. Which I'm currently reading. When I read one all of yesterday, but it is the Jewel Kingdom book series. I used to have 2 of them. I think I got rid of them because they were falling apart because I read them and I like them. This one is the Jewel Kingdom. The Diamond Princess Saved the Day. And I'm almost finished with this. They're like 74 pages. They're for 3rd graders. The Ruby Princess Runs Away. Okay, so the books that they had so these came out in the 90s, and these are the newer covers. I can tell because the girls look very different than they did in the 90s. And I'll get into that. What I think is pretty cool about that in a minute. So I was like, that'd be fun to reread these books. And yeah, it was really fun. I read this one, which I had never had read. Again, I had only read like The Emerald Princess Plays a Trick. And then no, I actually think I read that one. I think I read a different one with The Sapphire Princess. Because there was they've only republished 4 of these, and I'm like, what? Hopefully they'll republish more, because like they're fun, and I think girls who like princesses will like these books because I used to like princesses growing up. And I was like, yeah. And they come with stickers. How cool is that? I need to figure out how to get the stickers out so I can give them to the girls. Anyways, in the 90s, in the 90s because I am 30 and I don't need to be reading books for third graders, but I am because they're fun. I don't even teach third grade. I like finding books for kids that are fun. In the 90s, it came with a necklace or a bracelet. I think if you had the Ruby Princess, it came with a bracelet. I don't know. But like, they came with necklaces of the stones that the girls wore. I wanted the Emerald Princess because my birthstone was an emerald. And yeah. Then for some reason, I got the Sapphire Princess because I was like, oh, how cool is that? Plus, I couldn't find any of the other two. Yeah, I had 3 books because I did not read these in order, like the order, and I'm still not reading these in order. This is the first one, this is the 4th one. But in each book, it gives you a backstory of the kingdom, which is good, because, you know, kids, they're just going to be like, oh, it has red, and I love red, and I want to read it. Now, on to they've made changes in these, and I noticed that when not by the cover, obviously by the cover, because they used to have like the portrait-y realistic girlies on it, but now it's just like cartoony, which I was like, okay, whatever, I don't really care. Or was it, I think it was on like page 2 of this book, because I started it yesterday, and I was like, where is it? I can't do it. Oh no, it was on the first page. It was like within the 2nd paragraph, I was like, they changed the lore. Which is really not. Yeah, they changed the lore of like books for 8-year-olds. But like I can tell because I remember it vividly. In the 90s versions, they were all sisters, and this one, they're all cousins. Not that I really care. I'm like, they changed it. And then I was like, oh, well, I mean, obviously, they changed the looks of the girls as well, except for, like, Emily, the Emerald Princess's name is Emily. And I think she's, like, the only one that's the same. Because in the 90s, they were all white. Now they're not. Which is fine. I'm like, hey, good for you for like diversifying like books that were published over 30 years ago. Actually, let's see when it was first published. Hopefully it can tell me. No, it can't. Darn it. Copyright of Scholastic 2019. Yeah, I wonder if Scholastic's copyright ran out, and then they're like, hey, let's republish these. Or I wonder if the authors wanted to republish them. I don't know. Anyways, point being, in the 90s, they were all white girls. Emily's still the one that's white, but she also has red hair. So, like, I'm glad they kept her because, I don't know. They all have magical friends. Her magical friend is a dragon. Emily's is a unicorn. Hers is butterfly. Sabrina's is a butterfly. But yeah, I went online and I'm like, okay, what were the changes that they made between the 2 versions? Obviously, they changed some words. There's like some words and then some punctuations. Like the creatures, I think, all used to be capitalized, and then like they were like, oh, it's all lowercase. I'm like, okay, I don't care about that. But I think. But yeah, I'm like, good for you for like diversifying a book that was published in the 90s. So obviously they didn't even change the looks of the girls, like, except for really, I think the most, I don't want to say drastic, the one that they changed the most was Sabrina, because she had blonde hair, and now she's supposed to be black. Sabrina's supposed to be black. This one, Roxanne, who's the Ruby Princess, yes, their names coincide with the letter of the gems that they're representing. So Roxanne is now supposed to be Latina. And then, what is her name? Why can I never remember the Diamond Prince's name? Demetra. Demetra is supposed to be Inuit. And Sabrina's supposed to be black now. Which, again, I don't have an issue with. I was just, like, surprised. When I was reading it. Because I didn't think, because yeah, I could tell that they changed some of their looks. I was like, oh, cool. But then I was like, But then I was like, oh, they're all cousins now. Interesting. And I think originally their parents were supposed to be the ones ruling the kingdom, but now it's like their aunt. Yeah, like, I was like, they changed it. Again, like, okay, I will just say this about 8-year-old me reading these books. 8-year-old me, say if I was reading it now, and I was 8 years old in this time, I was reading it now. The word cousins, like, wouldn't even really register to me. Like, they could have left in that they were all sisters, and probably, like, 8-year-old me, and probably, like, a lot of 8-year-olds probably wouldn't have, like, been like, how are they, like, you could probably left in that they were sisters. 8-year-old me probably would not have registered if I was 8 years old, and this time I'm not 8 years old. I'm 26, I'm 22 years older than 8, but, like, again, I would not have had an issue with that. I probably would have been like, oh, they're sisters, that makes sense. But, like, now they're cousins, which, I mean, makes sense. But I would like to know, where are the girls' parents now? Because their parents were supposed to be the one ruling the kingdom, and now it's their aunt and uncle. Their parents just like, oh, I'm going to leave my 8-year-old child and so really, because I think that I don't know how canonically how old the girls are supposed to be. It's never stated in the books. But I was like, but reading it as an adult, I'm like, okay, why are these children left in charge? It's not really a kingdom, but, like, here's the kingdom map, because we get really into diverse. This was, like, the most that I was reading a fantasy as a child. I was like, whoa, that's so far. I was like, oh, and yes. When I was 8, I also read Harry Potter. And this is the one I'm choosing to talk about. I will, but yeah. So they rule these little, so this is the main kingdom. And they rule these, like, little kingdoms right there. So I'm just like, why are these 8? Like, there's the Ruby Kingdom, there's the Diamond Kingdom. Sabrina's supposed to be there. And then the Emerald Palace is, like, right there. Like, why are these 8-year-old children allowed to rule these palaces? I mean, these are fun. These are fun little books. You can't really, like, as an adult, I don't even know why I'm reading these. I'm just like, oh, these are gonna be fun. And that's not because I have to complete a Goodreads list. I'm not even anywhere near completing the goal that I set myself to read this year. I'm just like, okay, let's read this for fun. I mean, obviously, I haven't really read that many, but I've read 7 books this year, and 2 of them are these. 2 of them are these. One of them was, like, a graphic novel. And it's, so that's, like, what, 3? And then 4 of them were, no, one of them was a picture book. Because apparently I bought the picture book that Meghan Markle wrote, and I read it this year. I had to look at my review. I was like, did you read it in 2021? I was like, oh, I guess I did. Yeah, and so I was like, okay. These are the books. Again, there's nothing wrong with these. These books are fun. There's never really anything wrong with these that I remember as a kid. And I don't even have my original. It would be, oh, that would be interesting. Finding and buying the ones from the 90s and like reading them and comparing them to these ones. But, like, obviously I think the only, because I did look at a change list. It's like, oh, the changes were like the dark times are now called the sad times. I'm like, really? Whatever. I was like, really? Okay. Because a lot of books, like, oh, it's the darkness or the dark times, which, yeah, But I can't believe I'm talking for things about, like, 15 minutes. They're fun. They're good for 8-year-olds. They're only 8 chapters, at most, like, 80 pages long. Yeah, I think this is 74 pages, and I think this one is 74 pages. Yeah, I did some really big reading this year. No, this one is a whole page longer. not even a whole page. It's 75 pages. But yeah, like if you know a little girl who likes princesses, yeah. They come with stickers. They're not as cool as the ones that were published in the 90s that came with... Okay, obviously they're not real. The jewelry that it came with, I don't know. That's what I want to talk about today. I'll see you guys later. Bye.